What the hell is this?
Play magic artillery mage Shyvana, just not as her most optimal build path. Just not as her most optimal build path. Just not as her most optimal build path.
DEWORK, and after 6 weeks of pain, the DEWORK rework is finally here. Yay! We're saved! It's all gonna be... not really. We're taking 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and tap dancing around in a flat circle. TLDR is AD is in shambles and AP is back on the menu. Let's get into it. First, notice what's missing. That's right, her passive. You know, the Smolder-style passive Freak said he was working on?
Enough of a passive, enough of a passive, enough of a passive, enough of a passive, enough of a passive.
Yeah, well, he gave up and fucked off to go sabotage Season 17, and nobody else on the team seems to give a damn. To quote Riot August directly from his stream, "Oh, it's too hard, it's out of scope, it's too many resources, we can't do it, it's a good rework, you're all wrong, where'd my hair go?" In typical Riot fashion, the one thing she needs the most is the one thing they refuse to touch. Jungle is perma-skewed and top lane is perma-screwed. Don't expect any movement here for at least a year until they check their egos and do their jobs. Base AS is up, but AS ratio is cratered. Buying attack speed is now 10% less valuable. They are actively trying to kill Kraken and Bork to push beefy bruiser items like Shojin. For some reason, they really hate the fact that this historically AS-focused champion is building the items she needs to clear fast and charge her ult. Not to mention that she now additionally needs to cycle Q3 before being peeled. This is going to be seriously painful. I don't see a way around building AS because her Q active just doesn't hit hard enough and she needs to rely on her on-hit to kill camps. It's very strange to nerf her AS and yet keep her on hit. Her design is now even more conflicted. 17 more base AD to encourage Triforce and other Sheen items helps, but it's insufficient compensation. I'm not sure the builds will even change much because Q is a triple auto reset and is just too good with those non-Riot approved items. To further kill attack speed, Q's reset is being nerfed to 0.5. When we asked for a stronger rank up incentive, this isn't really what we meant. Now, your best way to get a second Q is to stack a shit ton of haste. Do not get baited by that refund note. The Aatrox model only refunds 4 seconds if you get kited out and Q expires. Ideally, this should never happen, and it only makes a failure state less crippling. What she really needs is the Riven model, where the entire thing is just ticking down in the background at all times. 0.5 is actually fair there, and it re-enables classic favorites like Navori. Then, spacing out your Qs to put a spell blade behind each one wouldn't be punched at all. You'd have a real choice between mash for burst or space for value. With her base AD buffed so much, they seem to really want to push Trinity, so I'm really not sure why we're not getting Riven Q. I am now begging for it each and every time I see a Rioter on socials or in any stream, and I invite all of you to do the same. Shyvana simply needs this to feel good, and it makes too much sense to not give. The AP component of the on-hit is getting axed. Weirdly, this makes D&D an AD-focused item. AP will gain very little benefit from the proc now, but Nashor's is hot garbage, so it might be her only viable clearing option. W is getting a massive glow up. 3 entire seconds are coming off the cooldown at max rank. We went from 19 all the way down to 9. Ain't that something? The biggest step forward is W's move speed is now fully decoupled from the shield and now always lasts 2.5 seconds. Very, very welcome. Strike one flaw off the list. Between this and the drastically reduced cooldown, map mobility and sticking power are drastically improved, which should disproportionately help high elo. However, to push Beefcake Dragon, the shield is going back to bonus health. Break-even point is well over 1000 HP. Counting her ult, that's at about 2.5 items. Quite late, but it should give her some support in games that refuse to end. For a supposedly scaling champion, her late game is rather terrible. All builds should max this second to press it twice in every fight. The heal, though, is pretty much gutted. You're not gonna feel it anymore unless you're literally on 1 HP. At this point, they should probably just get rid of it and redesign it into tenacity or slow resistance. Finally, AD ratio gone, AP ratio buffed all the way up to 65%. That's enough for you to care about if you're a lizard wizard. And the same is true for E. We're playing the goddamn hokey pokey here. It's being taken out again and shaken all about. Base damage down, but in return, max health damage. Break even at 1440 life. Early game nerf, mid to late game buff, all the time buff if you're not maxing it first like you should be. AP in Dragon form goes from 0.87 to 1.0. That's very, very good. For far too long have we been in Freak's doldrums under 1. But wait! There's more! 2 seconds off the cooldown. I would have sucked 6 or 7 dicks for an 8-second E back in my mid lane days. And now, it does that silly chain explosion nonsense and can't be blocked. Make no mistake, this is the single strongest version of E this champion has ever seen. Night Harvester era might have been stronger, but that was really the item, not the ability. Whenever Riot doesn't know what to do with Shyvana, they always just gigabuff her AP ratios and call it a day. Classic. They've said they want the lower cooldown to give her a more repeatable in-and-out playstyle. This champion does not have an in-and-out playstyle. This dragon is a fucking bomb.
Just not as her most optimal build path.
REW is 265 AP, 305 on 2 targets, which is somewhat likely, and R's Fear hit confirms EW. R is so fast, travels so far, and covers so much area now that escaping it isn't very realistic for the vast majority of carry champions. She is going to terrorize backline, and if anyone's hugging that carry, say goodnight. The patterns rawr in, Allahu Akbar, Zonias. Deeply unhealthy gameplay that's gonna piss off a lot of people. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another hotfix. In fact, the only thing that might save us is AD underperforming and being slow to adapt builds. So yeah, there are a lot of moving parts with AD, and it's tough to predict the outcome, but I'm personally not very optimistic. The nerfed reset and removal of every ratio that's not on Q has me feeling pretty bearish. AD builds are about to change pretty radically. At the very least, only having scaling on one ability is gonna feel pretty terrible. AP on the other paw is so back. If this ends up sticking, there's a chance I start playing again. I do intend to give mid lane another shot tomorrow. It's just her armor that's turbo griefed by her passive, and her MR is relatively normal. Hail of Blades is getting true damage added because fucking everything has to have true damage in 2026, so Hob Gunblade is first on the docket. I'm thinking I'll follow that up with high AP Pen because you don't really need that much haste with these low cooldowns. Citric thinks AP Bruiser's gonna end up being meta again, D&D Riftmaker etc. in the jungle, and he's probably right. I'll be trying that too, and maybe even some silly shit with Shiv D&D Bork for AoE procs. Keep your eyes peeled on Half Dragons and you'll be the first to know what's working and what isn't. Shyvana mains continues to deteriorate, and now we have Shivati posting with us exclusively because Kostya just couldn't stop kicking the Canadian puppy. Seriously, he's like the nicest guy ever. If you've got a problem with him, I promise you, you're the problem. Here's hoping the DEWORK rework is tolerable. If we get Riven Q and aimable E, we'll go into the realm of good. And with a new passive, we may even be great. But all of that seems like it's a long, long way away. One small step for a dragon, one giant wait for her mains. Oh, and permaban Silas forever at all times.
Yeah, boy.
You have been warned. May be blessed.